The clock is ticking on Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. It truly feels like it's now or never. We're going to talk about his hot seat status and whether or not he can turn it around on today's episode of Chicago Bears Now. Before we talk Flus, make sure you guys join the Noti gang. We got a bunch of new subscribers yesterday from our watch party and post-game show. We appreciate you. If this is your first time watching beyond that, you probably haven't turned on notifications. So, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. And once you do, click the notification bell and select all. That way you never miss a video here on Bears Now. All right, I'm Harrison Graham. Let's dive into Flus as I feel like it's now or never for the Bears head coach. It's been a pretty alarming start to this season. Chicago could easily be 0-3. They're lucky to be 1-2. He is now 11-26 as the Bears head coach, 3-16 on the road, and 2-10 in the division. And I kind of look at this as you kind of got 3 weeks to get this fixed because the schedule kind of lines up that way. First 3 weeks, again, you got lucky that you were playing Will Levis in week 1. You blocked a punt, so you kind of had some abnormal things happen to lead you to that win. You battled in Houston, but let's be honest, it was an offensive disaster. And to lose that game to Indianapolis yesterday with how Anthony Richardson played, it's just unacceptable. The Endgame Management, not knowing when to use timeouts, pretty embarrassing, if we're being completely honest. And the reason I say 3 weeks is because you've got the Rams at home. They're beat up. They got a nice win against the Niners yesterday, though. Panthers at home. They look formidable with Andy Dalton. And then the Jaguars in London before the bye week. Would anyone out there completely dismiss the possibility of if you somehow went 0-3 in this stretch? I know the McCaskies aren't a midseason firing team. I wouldn't rule it out during the bye week. It would seem like the perfect time to do it if this team is 1-5. Considering the not great schedule they've had to start this season. I think this is the biggest 3 weeks of Matt Eberflus's head coaching career. I think the clock is ticking. I think the heat is getting ramped up. And people ask me all offseason, is Matt Eberflus on the hot seat? I said, I think that's more of a national thought than a local thought. But things could change, and they could change quickly. And no one thought things would look this ugly 3 weeks in. And when you have an asset like Caleb Williams, you can't afford to mess around. So I really do think this thing needs to grow, and it needs to grow rapidly. How hot is Matt Eberflus's seat in your eyes? Scale of 0 to 10. I'm not going to say it's scorching. I think it's probably at around a 5 or 6, but I really do think that could ramp up to a 9 or a 10 in a matter of 3 weeks. So 5 or 6 right now, but it was probably a 1 coming into this season, so that's ramped up, and it's ramped up fast. You look at the offensive woes through 3 weeks. 30th in total offense. Scoring offense, don't be confused by that number. You have a special teams and a defensive touchdown already on the season, so you've scored, 53 points in 3 games? Well, 14 of those are from your defense and special teams. So offensively, you're really only averaging 13 points per game. The passing offense has not been very good, although it's trickled in the right direction. 363 yesterday from Caleb Williams. Rushing offense is an embarrassment. You're second to last in turnovers with 6. The running game is just embarrassing. It really is. And that's why I did a video last week of why did you keep Chris Morgan around? The offensive line hasn't done anything special in his first 2 years. It's gotten worse this year. You promote him to run game coordinator, and all of a sudden you have the worst rushing attack in the NFL. I know you're 30th. Well, one of those teams is the Raiders. They're a joke, and shout out Luke Getsy. And 2, the other one's the Bengals. They've only played 2 games. They play the Commanders tonight. Something tells me they're going to leapfrog Chicago. They're only like a half yard per game behind them right now. And I'm tired of hearing this because I can already hear the comments right now. He's a defensive guy, Harrison. That's Shane Waldron. I'm so sick of hearing that. And yes, obviously Waldron holds plenty of blame too, but Matt Eberflus is the head coach. When you're the head coach, you don't get to just say, well, offense isn't my specialty. That's not my side of the ball. You're not a defensive coordinator. You're the head coach that runs the defense, but you're not a defensive coordinator. You don't get to absolve yourself of blame of the offensive shortcomings. That is not allowed. When the 49ers blow a big lead and the defense collapses, Kyle Shanahan doesn't get a pass for that. That's not how this works. You want to go be a coordinator and not worry about the offense? Go do that, because a lot of teams will hire you. I'd hire him to be my defense coordinator. Players seem to like him. They play hard for him, and he gets a lot of takeaways. But he's not doing a good enough job as the head coach. So coming up next, I'm going to dive into this. 5 changes that Matt Eberflus could conceivably make that, I don't know if they will or not, maybe turn this thing around and turn this thing around quickly. We'll dive into those here in just a moment. But first, today's show is sponsored by Mando. I've been using this product for a while, and listen, it's going to keep you smelling good, and it's just so convenient to take some of these products with you, because you can rub your entire body with the whole body deodorant from Mando. It's dermatologist tested and gentle on all of your bits. I've been using Mando for months, and I can't recommend it enough to all of you males out there. It's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours. It's safe for your entire body, your pits, your package, your feet, and everywhere in between. It'll stop odor before it starts, and what's cool too, it's available in 4 cologne quality scents: Bourbon Leather, Mount Fuji, Pro Sport, and Clover Woods. Don't be the smelly guy in your group. Be sure to check out Mando's products today, including the starter pack, which comes with the solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and much more. New customers get $5 off with code CHAT at shopmando.com. That is shopmando.com. Got the simple deodorant wipes right here. You bring these with you in the car. Maybe you're going to go get 9 holes in, don't have time to shower. Give yourself a little rub down with these. Boom! You're smelling better than ever. Shopmando.com. Link is right there on your screen. So is the promo code CHAT to get $5 off. Smell good. It's skin safe. It's awesome. Link is in the comments and in the description. It's Mando. Make sure you're smelling good today. All right, so can Matt Eberflus turn this around? I'm skeptical, but if I was him, I'd be feeling pretty desperate, and I, would not be opposed to trying some things that could be, quite frankly, a little extreme 3 weeks into the season. So let's dive into it. Number 1, I would fire Chris Morgan immediately. He should not have been retained. I didn't understand it. I definitely don't understand it watching this offensive line play. The O-line protections make no sense half the time. The run game is putrid, and you made him the run game coordinator after 2 years of being pretty solid running the football. Now, last year the running game was a little overrated. I think they were second in the NFL in rushing, but it's a little inflated by Justin Fields. If we're being honest, the running backs were like 22nd, but still, I would take 22nd level production out of 32 from my backs right now. You're getting no production. DeAndre Swift has been a disaster. We'll get to him in a minute, but Chris Morgan, he should hit the road. Make your assistant O-line coach. The O-line coach the rest of the year, just keep it simple. He's in charge. He coaches technique, etc. Shane Waldron and the rest of the offensive staff can coach the scheme part of it. Number 2, make Thomas Brown your run game coordinator. He's your passing game coordinator right now. He's got a running back background, played running back, has coached running backs his entire career, has been a run game coordinator in the past. Sure, he probably wants this pass game coordinator on his resume as he continues to grow as a coach. But if I'm Matt Eberflus, I'm not worried about other people's resumes and futures. I'm trying to save my job right now, and I'm going to Thomas Brown. I'm saying, hey, still going to have input on the offense, but it needs to be more so from the running standpoint. Because if you fire Chris Morgan, you need someone to eat up those hours during the week with the run game concepts. Thomas Brown can help in that area. I would do that. Number 3, I would bench DeAndre Swift. I don't want to make this all about DeAndre Swift because it's not all about DeAndre Swift. But I think what's become clear to me early in this season, when you don't have a dominant offensive line like Philadelphia did last year when he had a great year, he's got limitations. He doesn't have great vision, and he's not going to break a lot of tackles. He's shifty. In theory, he's a one-cut back and go, but he's been indecisive as a runner, and the offensive line isn't opening up lanes. So this is what I would do. I would make Roschon Johnson my starter. We saw yesterday how physical he can be, and if you're not going to create a lot of holes, you need someone who can at least break some tackles and fall forward. Khalil Herbert would be my number 2, and then I would have Swift be my occasional change of pace back. Doesn't have to be permanent, doesn't have to be forever. He's here for at least 2 years because he signed a 3-year, $24 million deal, basically a 2+1. Can't cut him after this year without a cap penalty, so he's going to be here, barring something surprising. But until the offensive line gets more push, until they can create more lanes, I got to go with guys who have a chance to be more north-south runners. Get under center with Roschon as your lead back and run north and south. Number 4, and this isn't really a change. This is just you got to figure it out. Figure out the endgame management. Like, it's been kind of an issue for a while. He's not good at challenging plays, and you can blame the guys upstairs, whoever. The head coach has to carry blame on that. And he is clueless on when to take timeouts. And at times, it seems like he doesn't have control of the situation. When you're down 14-3 and you get the ball back in the fourth quarter, when you get in the huddle with Caleb and those guys, you tell them, hey, if we score, we're going for 2, and this is the play we're running. So be ready to do it. It seemed like they were not ready to do that yesterday. They score the touchdown. They're celebrating. Flus on the sideline looks confused. Do I call it? Do I kick the extra point? Do I go for 2? He takes a timeout, and then they still don't get the 2-point conversion. That is unacceptable. And to his credit, after the game, he said, that is on the coaches. That is on me. And he has not always done that, so I will give him credit for that. But you can't let that happen. You have to be in control of that situation and have your guys ready to go. That is an unacceptable mistake. And how big was it to not have that timeout late? And the second one he used was with like 5.5 minutes left when the Colts are on the goal line. I get it. They're still probably going to run 40 seconds there, but I would rather have the timeout in my back pocket, especially since he had already used one. One mistake compounded into 2, and that can't happen. He can't let that happen. And then number 5. And this is a little more extreme because Matt Eberflus is not an offensive guy, and he probably doesn't want to be stepping on Shane Waldron's toes 3 weeks into the season. But I'm sitting down with Shane and the offensive staff this week, and I'm saying, guys, we've got to get under center more. It'll make the protection opportunities a little bit easier on the offensive line. And the 2 biggest plays of the game yesterday were play-action shots with Caleb Williams. So try to get the run game going from under center. Again, north-south with Roschon and Khalil Herbert. And set up some play action off that. Hit the deep ball to Rome for about 45. Hit the deep kind of over route for about 25 to Rome as well. Both on play action, both rhythm throws. Caleb looked very comfortable. And people are like, well, he hasn't done under center much. Huh? Looked pretty good doing it yesterday. You got to do more. This is the NFL. He's got to learn by doing it. If he's not quite there yet, well, nothing like game reps, right? Let's get him under center more, run the ball north-south, get some play action off of it. Obviously, you're still going to be in the gun some, but I think the percentages of under center snaps have to increase. And if I'm Eberflus, I'm emphasizing that to Shane and the offensive staff. So there you have it. I think this thing is getting sketchy quick. It's why I said it last year. Eberflus is a nice guy. The players seem to like him. The defense clearly works, but he's the head coach. And I would have reset with an offensive-minded coach with Caleb Williams. And they didn't do that. And that's on Ryan Poles. And assuming this doesn't get turned around with Flus, and I just lack confidence, like even if they rally and are a decent team, can you ever imagine Matt Eberflus in a high-leverage playoff game out-coaching a Sean McVay, a Kyle Shanahan? Like, he's just not good enough. Like, he's not good enough. So he's got, to me, a 3-week trial here. Where he's got to get this thing turned around. And if he doesn't, this thing's going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly. It's already ugly. I mean, you really imagine what the conversation would be if this team was 0-3, and they probably should be, if we're being completely honest. Can Matt Eberflus turn this around? Be honest. Type Y for yes, type in for no. I can't say I have faith. I have faith that the defense will continue to play well, but he's the head coach. You can't absolve him of the offensive issues. All right, we'll be back later this afternoon with more Overreaction Monday live on the channel at 4 o'clock Central Time. So subscribe. Again, hit those notifications so you never miss a video or miss a notification for when we are going live. My name is Harrison Graham. Bear down, and we will see you guys soon.